Hey everyone, it's Brittany Griffin from Mississippi, and today I'm going to be cooking for y'all my shrimp pot pies. And the way I came up with this recipe is I took two of mine and my husband's favorite things growing up and kind of combined them. So I took my love for chicken pot pie, or pot pies in general. I ate chicken pot pies and vegetable pot pies, any kind of pot pie. And my husband grew up eating a lot of seafood since he's from Louisiana. And he grew up eating a lot of etouffee. So the filling of this is kind of my take on an etouffee. So to get started, I have 4 tablespoons of butter melting in the pot. And to that I'm going to add my trinity of vegetables. In Louisiana, people refer to bell pepper, onion, and celery as the holy trinity for cooking. But I've changed it up a little bit. I have 2 shallots, 4 to 6 green onions depending on the size, and 3 stalks of celery. And I'm using my food processor to help me chop things today. So I've already processed that, and you can see that it's pretty fine. So you want it to have a pretty fine dice on it. So we're going to add that to our butter and get that sauteing. I'm going to need to raise the heat just a tad. And we just want to saute this until it gets tender. So while this gets started, I'm going to show y'all how to create the cream mixture. Okay, in my food processor, oop, the oven's ready. It's preheating to 400, or has just preheated. Okay, in my food processor I have 1/4 cup walnuts. I went ahead and put those in first so that I could roughly chop those. And to this I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients to get the cream sauce going. So you need a 1/2 cup of half and half. You need 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and I don't measure it perfectly, I just kind of eyeball it. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to take 6 ounces of our Philadelphia cream cheese, and I brought this to room temperature. And then I cubed it up. So we're going to get all that in the food processor. And then we're also going to add 1 teaspoon of dry sherry. And this is kind of like nutmeg is to a cream sauce. This is going to just help all of the flavors of our pot pies to marry and blend together well. So we've gotten all these things in the food processor. It's going to get a little bit loud in here. So while the vegetables finish sauteing, and I'm going to get this blended up, and then we'll come back and we'll put it all together. Okay guys, our vegetable mixture has started to get really tender. So at this stage what you want to do is add 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. And I just bought these pre-sliced at the grocery store. But what I like to do is dice them up a little bit finer. Like I usually chop them in 3s, or quarter them, just because you want them to be nice bite-sized chunks. So we're going to add all of those in. And then we're going to add in 1 pound of like a medium-sized shrimp. And I bought my shrimp deveined and shelled. And mine were like 41.50, which means there's 41 to 50 in a pound. So that gives you an idea about how big they are. So now we're going to add those in. And we're going to season this up a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of lemon zest. Now if you have large lemons, I would just use 1. But if you have small lemons, you can use about 2 of those. You just don't want to use too much zest, because it can overpower the dish, because the zest is where all those, essential oils and things are. So we're going to add that in, and then all the seasonings that I would add to this, salt, pepper, garlic, onion, those are all in Paula Deen's house seasoning. So I'm just going to add some of this. And I want to tell y'all, every year at Christmas, stockings are a big deal to our family, and we usually just fill them up with tons of little odd and end things. And every year my mom and I give each other Paula Deen seasonings, the house seasoning, the silly salt, all that. So Paula, you have become a part of our Christmas tradition. Every year you're a part of our Christmas. So I thought that was a neat story to share. So what we're going to do is let the shrimp cook just a couple of minutes. We don't want them to cook all the way through, because we are going to put these in the oven. So just cook them just a few minutes, allow the mushrooms to soften a little bit, and when we come back, we'll add the cream mixture in here and get the pot pie mixture into the ramekins. Okay guys, our shrimp have started to turn pink just around the edges, so I've turned the heat off because they're going to continue to cook in the oven. And I removed my cream cheese mixture from the food processor. I removed the blade. Be extra careful when you do that. And now I'm going to add all of this to our shrimp and vegetable mixture. And to thicken this up a little bit, the cream cheese helps to thicken the sauce, but I'm also going to add a little bit of cornstarch because that's really going to act as a thickening agent. So I've dissolved 1 tablespoon of cornstarch in just a little bit of water, which you always want to do before you add it to anything. So just make sure, whisk that it's dissolved, and then we're going to add that in, and that's going to help thicken all of this for us. To make sure we get that creamy pot pie texture to our sauce. So at this point, we're done with the filling and we're going to start ladling into our ramekin. So this is about 4 servings. And what I've done is I've taken my ramekins, sprayed them with a little vegetable spray. And you're going to take about 1 ladleful. You just want to make sure that you probably don't want to go more than like 3/4 of the way up because it will tend to bubble over. And then I took a refrigerated pie crust, just the round 9-inch pie crust that you find. I rolled that out, got 4 squares out of it, and that's what our topping is going to be. So you just want to kind of shimmy this down in there, press the sides, and then we're going to cut a little slit in the top just so that they're able to breathe. And then I take a little bit of butter and I dot the top of it so that as this bakes, the butter will melt and it's going to help brown the top of it. And I kept this butter in the refrigerator until right before I used it. That way it's nice and cold. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do is I like to add a little bit of kosher salt to the top and just a couple of grounds of fresh black pepper. I think that looks pretty on the crust. Okay, so I'm going to finish assembling the rest of these and then we're going to get them into our oven. Okay guys, I just finished assembling all of my pot pies. Now I'm going to get them in the 400-degree oven and bake them for about 20 to 30 minutes. Be really careful because this oven is hot. Okay, so the pot pies are in the oven. I'm going to let those do their thing and get golden brown and bubbly on the top, and then I'll see you guys in about 20 or 30 minutes. Okay everyone, I just pulled my shrimp pot pies out of the oven and they are smelling divine. My husband and I are for sure going to have these for dinner tonight. Super easy. It happened in a flash. They baked for about 30 minutes. As you can see, they're golden brown on top. That butter helped make a really nice, yummy crust. So I hope that you'll go get this stuff and try these tonight because they are absolutely wonderful. See everyone next week.